Okay, the next part is the fun part. This is where you get to use your imagination and go for something wonderful. Go for something that you really you wish and dream big and all those kind of things. So, first thing you get to do, and like I said, this is the one and only time you get a copy off the internet. But I want you to go and do some shopping. So the first thing I want you to do is choose a place that you want to live anywhere in the world. If you have your own photographs, you can definitely use that. But if you have to use a scenery, like if you've always wanted to live in India, you know, you're going to have to look for it. And if you've never been there, then you're going to have to borrow an image off the internet of India in order to put it there. So take a few moments and pull some images. Remember, if you right click and save, that is how you pull an image off the internet. I prefer Google Images for choosing my images. So we're going to click on images here. You can use Yahoo or Google. I think all of Bing, all of those are fine. The wonderful thing about these, if you're interested in tools, especially as a graphic designer, you have to be very careful that you don't steal something that belongs to somebody else. I use a lot of Wikipedia in my classes because they're part of what we call Creative Commons, which is copyright-free images. You can also use stock photography for that, but that might cost you money. So this is why I like Google, because they have a usage rights here, and all is great if you're not worried about that. But Creative Commons license means anybody. These are images that people are willing to share with anyone. Nobody's going to sue you if you take their image. So there we go, Wikipedia right there. And it's kind of, ooh, I like that one though. Ooh. Brahma Temple at the Grand Canyon. I kind of like that. Let's make sure that it is Creative Commons, CC, right down here. So it's part of Creative Commons. So I'm going to right click and save this image. Again, I like saving it to my desktop. That's just one of the rituals I do, is go and clean up my desktop by the end of the day or whatever. So I'm going to save it to my desktop. So that way it is there, easy for me to access. Get out of here. And now I'm ready to put my image in my room. So first step to put your image in your room, this little, make sure your layers palette is out. If your layers palette isn't out, remember you can find it under Windows. See, it's checked here, because look what happens if I click again, it's gone. So if you can't find your layers palette, go under Window, Layers, and there it is. And next thing I'm going to do is click on this little drop down menu here. This icon implies there's more under here. Same thing with these little arrows. They say there's more tools under here. So I'm going to pull this drop down menu out. Unfortunately, it's off the screen, so I'll have to show you. I am going for what they call the duplicate layer. Duplicate layer, I get the background copy. Now, again, I have my limits with Screencast-O-Matic. Let me show you if I can. There we go. See, the duplicate layer is right here. So when you click on that, it automatically names it for you, background copy. That's kind of nice. Okay, so you got a copy of the background. Now you want a blank layer. So again, let me click on New Layer. New layer, I'm going to be creative and call it layer 1. Or you can, if you want to be professional about this, you can label this the scenery label. Okay, so here we go with the scenery. And we got our scenery right there. Now, there's several ways you can go about this. If you open that image you pulled off the internet, if you're good enough with Photoshop, you can play around with it. If not, you can just grab it and drop it into your picture. You want it on the scenery label layer, so make sure you clicked on the scenery and then just drag it over. You can't see it. You know why you can't see it? Because this layer's in front of it. If we put this up here, we would see it. So you can drag these layers, and you want to sandwich your new layer in between the background copy and your background. That's why we can't see it. Take this little eye, says we can see it. If I take this little eye and pull it off, you can see it, the image, and you can resize it once we get to the move tool. We'll do that later. But anyhow, first we need to get rid of this white here, right? So we're going to take our selection tool. This is our selection tool, and we're going to click on this area here. We also want to get rid of, maybe if you want to make this maybe a clear door, that would be kind of cool if I put a clear door in there. So I'll select this area too, and I'm going to click that, and then again delete, and there it is. Now I can change my little eye off here so I can see it. You want to deselect because we want to select the whole image. We're going to click on our image here, and you can resize this by using the move tool. You can move it around wherever you want. I kind of like the mountains right there. You can resize it. You know, you want to cover up the whole area, but you want to be able to see a lot of the scenery in there. And then, of course, when I click my eye tool back on, there it is. Ooh, I like that quite a bit, and it kind of contrasts well with the window. So there it is. You see a couple little areas on the window I want to clean up later on, but you get the general idea of what you can do with this. So there's the scenery. Put yourself wherever you want to be in the world. If there's some place you've always wanted to live, dream big. Now you can place yourself. This is your room. You're going to place yourself wherever you want. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put some furniture in that room. So you can make your room into an office, a bedroom, anything that can fit in. It's a very tiny room, and you want to use the sense of scale. Remember that word, comparison of one object to another. So you want to use your sense of scale. Again, if you're doing the honest thing and choosing copyright, we want to use Creative Commons license. But for this, I'll let you go to it. If you have a favorite furniture store online, by all means, you can use it. Remember, we are changing things the way we want them. Now, be careful. You want to choose something that is to scale of your room. If it's too big or if it's not in the right perspective, you're going to have trouble. So we're going to be looking for something that has almost a one-point linear perspective, like this right here or this. That's kind of a cool one. Ooh, look at that one. Woohoo, la-ti-da. Okay, so I'm going to choose that, and look at that. See the checkered background here? This says it's already an illustration. I won't choose it because it's already an illustration. We don't want to take somebody else's work. We want to make this photorealistic, so we want a real bed. That one's not bad, but I don't like the bedspread. You can look anywhere on here and find a good bed to use. I like this site because it allows me to change the color of the bed. Careful, the perspective changes when you do that. I want something that goes with my purple bedroom. I kind of like that neutral tone, the gray or the neutral. And the only one I really have is, ooh, that's kind of nice. So now I'm going to right click, save image as, save it to my desktop so I can find it. Now, if you save it to your flash drive, this is just as easy, because if you save it to your flash drive, you know it's always going to pull up your flash drive and it's going to save it right here. So I'm going to call this bed and then hit save, and now I've got it ready for me to pull into Photoshop. Now I'm going to grab my bed here, drop and drag it in. You can also do file open and then edit copy and put it in there, but I really like the drop and drag feature. Notice that when I dropped it in here, it actually created a new layer. Isn't that wonderful? That stops us from messing up our old layers. We want that. That's a good thing. So, of course, now, what do you think we got to do? We got to trace around the bed, cut the bed out. You're going to trace around the bed. I'm going to do a little area. I'm not going to do the whole bed this time. I'm going to do a little area just to show you. But when we trace around the bed, here I'm going to get rid of this part here and hit delete. Make sure you're on the right layer. Okay, now, when I started to trace that, I had a problem right away because it was not a JPEG file. Yeah, look at that JFIF file. That's not going to work for us. So you want to be careful that you take JPEGs or GIFs or TIFFs off the internet because they're harder to copy. So if you find a JFIF file or a PNG or something like that and you can't use it, don't discourage. Just go look for another bed or convert it to a JPEG. So I'm going to convert this one very quickly. I'm going to open it. I'm going to find it. There's my bed. Open it. And then, of course, now, once I click on it, I can do all my editing over here, which is wonderful. Watch how fast. I'm going to do a quick job of this, okay, just to show you. You can see I want you to carefully trace around this, but for the sake of explaining this to you quickly, I'm going to make a very quick trace around it. Now, I've selected the bed. I can either edit, copy, edit, paste, or I can, if I have this pasted on the actual image, then I can select inverse and hit delete. Yes, I want a white background. Now I've got my bed there, and I can save this, save as, again, on my desktop. Save it to bed, because I don't care if I erase the old one here. Save. Okay. And now when I choose this, make sure you choose the whole thing, or watch this. If I select the background and then go select inverse, now I've got the bed. So I edit, copy, go over to my assignment and edit, paste. There's my bed. Okay, and I can move it around however I want. I can grab these corners and make it larger. I can turn it a little bit, but that's going to change the angle. One thing you can play around with a little bit is this transform tool. The transform tool has a perspective feature which allows you to play around with the perspective a little bit. So I can make this a little more in perspective that way. Not much though, so be very careful when you play around with that. Okay, so nonetheless, there we go. And hit your return key to stop. And then I'm going to enlarge it. And I'm going to put it right here. You can also play around, especially if you have it on your own. You can play around with the colors here by going under adjust. And now I can change the bedspread color if I don't like it. Maybe I want to make it more of a pink to go with the room. Ooh, that kind of fits in. Notice this rug under here that I don't like. I can clean this up on another one. And then delete. Layer, flatten. White is what we want. And then you're going to deselect. And that way, all you have to do to select this again is select the background and then select inverse. If I want to get rid of this one that I don't like, I'm going to grab this layer and throw it away in the little trash can here. And now I can edit, paste, and I got my new bed there. Edit, copy. Remember to copy the right one. And then edit, paste. And there's my new bed with the nice colors and the floor showing through. So I'll move this around. So look for something that's in a good perspective. And as you can see, it's going to cover up a lot of that ugly back wall there. Well, there's my bed. Each and every time, you know, you can find a bed different ways. You can also, by clicking it, you can also make it smaller, and that way it implies you have a larger room. Hey. Then, so you're going to do that with each and every single one of the objects that you put in this room. Dream big. And remember to flatten your layers. Once you're happy with the way things are going, like all these layers over here, I don't need all of them now. If I like the way the bed is, if I like the location of the bed, watch those angles there. You might want to soften. This is the eraser tool here. I'll change my brush size to something small, and you can soften up if you're on the right layer. You can soften up these edges. Whoops, that's a little too much. You can soften up these edges and make them more curvy. I like that there. And curvy that way. And so you can get not such hard edges so it looks more believable. I don't want things to look cut out, right? We want them to look like they fit in there. And so once you get things the way you want, then remember, if you layer, flatten your image, then you're ready to go on. But remember, once you flatten it, you're losing that memory. You can always go back. You can always go back and change things. That makes it 2 or 3 layers again. But once you flatten it and then file save, you've lost all your memory and you're stuck with what you have. So it's good to save after every step and keep more than one version. That way you can always go back, because when it's gone, it's gone. Now, the last thing I want to show you before we finish this lesson is some of the examples, just to give you an idea how creative this can be. These are some of the examples that my students in the past have done. You can put anything you want. Like I said, you're imagining, you're creating the place you've always wanted to live with all the stuff in the room you've always wanted to live. So here's one room a student did. Here's another one. Here's another one. Cool, huh? So anything that you think, and notice I'll be pretty easy on the perspective, but look at that awful paint right there. And look that this person did not even clean the yellow off the walls. That I'm not going to be lenient with. This should have been erased because look, they didn't trim the bed very well. So I'm going to be lenient on the perspective, but I'm not going to be lenient on the trash on the floor and those kind of things, because I know you know how to clean it up. Look at that one. Hoo, hoo, hoo. So these are all the things that my students have done in the past. Pretty cool. So you put yourself the place you want. You can change the shape of the window, but I am going to ask that you have some kind of crown molding or something around it so it looks like you changed the shape of it, right? We want something that says there was a window here. Again, though, I would have cleaned up all this area here. But you can see these are all wonderful, highly imaginative examples. Okay, so have fun with this. Daydream, imagine, fantasize. I've even had, look at the gun there. Oh, I didn't see that one. But I've even had students put like their girlfriend in the picture, their boyfriend in the picture. You can imaginize your ideal, if there's a Hollywood celebrity that you have a crush on, you could put him in their window. Anything goes at this point. Remember, I'm checking the cleanliness. Look at that. That doesn't look very good up here. When they should have stretched this image out and cleaned up that edge there. So those are the little things that I'm going to be looking for. That's a nice one. That's beautifully done. That's a good example. And this is somebody's office. They turned it into an office. So anyhow, have fun with this assignment, daydream, but just show me you've learned some new tools.